Big Mecha. Fuck it, we're doing it live. Welcome to another episode of Big Mecha! But not huge. Today, we're having a little bit more of a subdued episode. I've got standard co-host, Paul. Say hello, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
And Will is not here. He's being a little troglodyte going on vacation, leaving us all high and dry. That fascist.
He is in Connecticut.
Hey, don't dox.
Wow. Now now the audience knows he's in one of the 50 states that he could have been in the US.
Right.
Connecticut is pretty small though.
Connecticut, his girlfriend. Sorry.
Wow. Do you want me to start over, Paul? That way she doesn't yell at you.
I don't think she listens to this, so
no, I'm pretty sure Will's gonna show it to her. I'm gonna make sure it's pointed out.
Yeah, please start over because
nope.
I don't want to die.
Nope, I'm keeping it in.
It's in the first minute. You could find it pretty easily. This isn't like a fucking deep cut in the middle of the episode.
Get fucked, Paul. Anyways,
yeah.
So as you can also tell, we do have a special guest with us today. Our returning guest, David. How are you, David?
Yeah, kind of rare. Coming back twice in a row. Once,
I know. It's almost like it's Metabots or Transformers, except you were here for most of the Transformers, so it's like, yeah.
I was there for all but I think 2 or
I think not
one
for
for
Rise
sure.
of the Beasts.
Yes, I was not there for Rise of the Beasts.
And technically you weren't there for the last night because we trashed that piece of shit.
Yeah. We were just fighting each other the entire time.
No, that was Age of Extinction.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Due to a Paulito here.
Hey, that alcohol.
I remember.
Great. Alcohol was necessary to watch that movie.
So
you know who else needs alcohol?
Who?
The
little 14-year-old boy.
I was even going to say the captain, but
Oh, Misato. I mean, she has a little too much alcohol, if you ask me.
No,
Hey, she doesn't drink at work, though.
Yet, as far as we know.
She has a bottle of Jack in the bottom corner.
I wouldn't blame her.
No.
Dealing with his bitch ass every day.
So,
come on.
What we're reviewing for this batch of episodes is episodes 4 through 6 of Neon Genesis Evangelion. We're going to start off with 4, which I think is more along the lines of like a standalone episode. And then 5 and 6, I think we should review together. Kind of like how we did 1 and 2 for the other set.
Okay.
So, this episode almost feels like filler. And it's basically because almost nothing happens. And I understand why it's there. But the whole thing is basically just Shinji running away from everybody and everything because it's not that he doesn't want to do his duties. It's because of the fact that he's being told, you're basically the crux of humanity. You need to do this, otherwise we're all going to die. And he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to be a part of that.
Actually, that is slightly incorrect.
How dare you tell me that I'm wrong on a very sophisticated podcast such as this?
Because they don't tell him shit. Ever.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You are correct in terms of what the world's requiring of him due to you and me having hindsight. But the reality is they basically say, hey, if you can't walk this off, you should walk out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, like it's literally like they have gotten so tired of his bullshit. I'm pretty sure if they could find a potato to put in that thing, they would.
I mean, you're not
because
wrong.
They are fucking done with him.
But he's got a lot of valid issues.
Yeah. The problem with this episode isn't episode 4. It's when they do this shit again 2 more times later on to emphasize the point that he doesn't want to be there. Because even we got a little bit, we got that in the first 3. But the first 3, I would consider those being more introduction. But this is the first full episode of I don't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna do this. Like, this is the reason why it's hard for me to give a shit about Ava, because like the beginning is strong, the last 5 episodes are really good, and then every other episode you like in the middle of between those has an episode where they have to remind us Shinji, in fact, doesn't want to be here. And this is just so this episode gets a pass in that regard, but we're gonna see this again multiple times.
Yes.
He is like every episode we have had, he has been acting like this. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to pilot the robot. But this one, the only thing that is different is that I have heard so many cicadas in this episode
Oh yeah, they
that
love him.
it's not even funny.
So I want to combat that
Like,
by
I
saying
was
you
about to
haven't
fall
watched
asleep.
Higurashi When They Cry. That
Oh my
entire show
god.
is filled with that.
But this was
Don't put those
literally
words in
just
a sentence.
this was literally just him being emo and not wanting to do anything. And I literally feel like this episode was, okay, how can we conserve on this budget but still have 25 episodes?
Well, they definitely did it at the end of the episode. You could definitely tell where
Oh yeah.
it was that long segment right there at the train right before the end that was like a minute long. I'm like, oh, this is something that they adopt heavily.
What do you
Mm-hmm.
mean that the train passed? They what's it called? Scanned the camera around, and so happened have Shinji slightly blocked as they looked at the camera at the train again, and waited like 30 seconds, and then they saw him, and then they didn't say nothing for almost a whole minute.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
David, I'm
You-
gonna warn you right now. There is an elevator scene later on. You do not see the elevator moving. You see two characters standing in front of the camera doing absolutely nothing for a solid minute. There's no talking, there's no breathing noises, nothing. It's just ambient sound of the elevator possibly moving.
So that goes for on for a minute.
Goes on for a minute, almost two.
So I'm gonna press the skip 10 seconds button about 6 or 7 times then.
Maybe. So with regards to the plot, basically in this one, Masato wakes up and she realizes that Shinji's not there. She ends up finding a note saying, to Miss Kisaragi, and she goes like, "Son of a bitch, this little bitch isn't here." And as soon as she goes to try and find him, the doorbell rings and who's there? It's Toji and Kensuke. What do
Yeah,
they
you're
want?
there.
I honestly could not. I'm sorry, I could not get over Johnny on Bosch voicing Tenchi. It literally
Toji?
sounds like he's still doing Toji. Sorry. It literally sounds like he's still doing his Spike voice. No, sorry. His Vash voice for the kid, and I'm like,
You see, this is
no.
interesting coming from because I'm watching the original dub. David, you're watching the original dub too, right?
Yeah, I make good decisions.
So you say it's Johnny Young Bosch. We got a completely different guy. Now, David, am I wrong in thinking that when we first are introduced to Toji, he comes in with a really hard, gravelly voice, but in this one and all episodes after this, it's lightened up?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of chalking it up to like he came in real hot emotionally because his sister was put in the hospital. But like after that, he kind of like becomes like the burly side joke character as well. After this episode, he kind of becomes way more lighthearted than I thought he was gonna end up being.
With a full
But he's still,
voice change.
yeah, it's really different. But especially episode 5 is when it's the most different.
Now, Paul, did Johnny Young Bosch do anything like that? Like, did he have any kind of like different affectations from the first episode you see him to now?
He does more. He gets more when Toji is being more aggressive. He has a more of a growl in his voice in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's just doing a normal scene, it literally sounds like it's just Vash the Stampede.
That's a wild take, especially
Like,
because I'm reading the manga and I'm gonna go over some manga notes later on. I got a fuck ton. But when you read him in the manga, he's got that Kansai dialect where he's got that twang that goes with it. So it's
mhm.
weird to see it not be present in either iteration.
Oh yeah, it feels really off. Whenever he speaks, it feels really off. And it's not because I'm always thinking about all the other characters he's done, because I've seen the diversity he can do.
Mm-hmm.
But this, it's just like me hearing the Shinji voice actor or the Masato voice actor. They just sound so wrong. They do not feel like they were casted for these characters. It seems more like they were actors that they were brought in just to fill a void.
That might
Like,
be the
yeah, we
case.
couldn't get yeah, like
I
we
think
couldn't get the actual people back because they were busy doing other more high profile stuff,
no, that is
but
not
we
the
brought
reason.
you
The
in.
reason they didn't bring him back is because they didn't want to pay their rates.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not like you can tell that it's not because they couldn't they were basically doing it because they were the cheapest people to have there at the moment. That was literally it.
Which is
Because
weird because Gendo is voiced by Ray Chase, and we all know him as Noctis from Final Fantasy 15, and he's kind
yeah,
of ballooned up since then regarding any kind of voice roles.
But also remember, I think it also have to take into account like their personal time, how much they're willing to put into it, how much they're willing to be a part of something with this kind of like legacy behind it, and also
Mm-hmm.
too, there are plenty of SAG actors who are willing to work at rates. So I can imagine the old cast of Ava was like, "No, I'm not trying to take at rate money to redo some shit I did before," and then all the other current live, active voice actors like either had the free time or they didn't mind doing it at rate
Mm-hmm.
because most players all get paid the same unless they negotiate higher independently.
Absolutely.
but yeah. And it's also, it really feels like a lot of these readings, it feels like a reading. Like they aren't actually, they don't care. Like
Like
they're
they're not
just saying the
acting like
lines.
the
Yeah.
part that they're supposed to be doing, voice acting.
Like it feels more like this dub. It's trash compared to what was before. And yes, a lot. I will say I have no problem watching either sub or dub because sometimes you can tell when people actually care about what they're doing, the performance that they're doing.
Hmm.
This one you can tell that this was basically just a training thing for them. They weren't even really putting it in. The only people that actually the new voices that they casted that actually have any talent, they are only in small roles that they don't need to keep them there too long. They
I
can
mean,
get they can get the series for them.
I don't want to
Their
harp on it for
voices
too
and
long. I do remember watching on the Netflix version back when it originally came out that I thought that the Netflix cast did do a decent job despite the changes that I didn't like. I actually like Shinji's voice actor this time around, but to each their own. But I don't want to
yeah.
do any more deep dive on that. I want to get back into the episode itself. So she lies. Misato ends up lying to Toji and Kensuke, saying that he's just training at a facility. There's no real reason why he's gone and hasn't shown up to class. Ha 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 ha. Bye. And then we find out that Shinji's been on a train that's been going all day, and he literally stops at the end of the line. So he's like, well, maybe I should go back. And then he just starts trudging along. And it's weird to see how far he went and then how far he actually managed to get by the end of it. Because it all just goes to show, despite how big or small you think it is, you can get far on a fucking train in that small ass island. I mean, Tokyo 3, I have no idea how big it is on the outside, but goddamn. And then he's just walking around in the forest, in the open field. And who's there? It's Kensuke in fucking G.I. Joe armor.
I will say
Yeah,
Kensky's that entire thing of Kensky training like made it for me that episode. I was like, damn, he
It,
is
d-
like going in on it. I'm like, shit.
it does give you some good insight into him as to like what he likes to do. And I liked his little thing where he said, I'm just like you, I don't have a mom. I'm also assuming that he doesn't have any parents in general, and he basically is an orphan.
Yeah.
yeah,
um
most likely. It's who knows when his parents left, right? Like there's so much casual death and just displacement that happens in
mhm.
the world. You don't even see the first wave of it, right? The second impact, right? You don't even see that happen.
No.
We just hear it happen. So like, who knows when his parents actually went?
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Not yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, go no, no, go ahead.
I know. I was gonna say because something I noticed in the fifth episode makes me realize that there's probably like a lot of just kids probably living by themselves in a really weird way. You know what I mean? Like because
Mm-hmm.
we'll see when we get there. Yeah, at Ray's part in 5, but
So speaking of
Yeah.
Ray,
yeah, but Ken does it here.
speaking of Ray, we get some more insight as to why Shinji's not there in the first place. And they do a little flashback, and they're examining Ray because of her injuries. And you see Masato and Ritsuko talking, and they're talking about like, oh, so why is he gone? And then all of a sudden, it's because Masato fucking tore into him after all the events from the third episode where he was fighting Shamshell, that giant, angel with a
Mhm.
tail and shit. And it's because he wasn't obeying orders. It's because he basically went off and did shit on his own. And he was like, well, I mean, we won, right? Like, who the fuck am I supposed to care about? Especially if all I'm just here is, doing the shit that you guys need. And, like, he was kind of being smarmy about it, but also along lines of, like, I'm at my lowest point. I do not give a fuck. The moment that you tear into me, I'm gonna snap. Like, that's what I got from that. And that's essentially what happened. He snapped by leaving.
Yeah, she gave him the shit I got off the pot line.
Pretty much. So while he's
Oh.
hanging out with Kensuke, he actually spends the night in a tent. They actually go camping and shit. And he wakes up, and all of a sudden, there's a bunch of nerve security and intelligence personnel that are outside, like, hey, you're Shinji, right? Get the fuck out. We're going. And they take him back to Masato. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the scene in between this scene in the manga, wildly different, completely. So, like, with the manga version, you can tell, and I'm gonna go over all the differences that I found, but in the manga, there's like a bunch of different things that feel like that they either add to the scene or they completely change certain aspects of the scene, but they still all lead to the same place and they all lead to that same, big moments, but it's all the little stuff that adds flavor to it, and it doesn't make it feel like that it's filler. It feels like that it's almost like it's its own continuity. But they decided that they wanted to change things up just a little bit, despite the fact that the manga is written by the character designer for this goddamn show.
Okay.
Yeah, it's wild. Also, the character designer, David, is also the same one who wrote or did shit for Dot Hack.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you
I
notice any
used to watch that
similarities,
back in
that's
the day.
why. Let's see.
Yeah.
I
So
see it.
they bring him back to Nerve. Masato's like, so you don't want to pilot it, or did you have fun while you were out there? He's like, I honestly don't know. I mean, I don't feel anything right now. You're like, well, you don't want to pilot it, right? Well, I have to, so I'll go ahead and do it. No, you don't want to. No, not really. All right, fine. Go ahead and quit. Go back home. Get out. And she basically, like, forces resignation on him. And, like, the personnel, like, take away his shit. He's like, can I say bye to Masato? No, you can't do shit. Get out. And they forcibly, like, drag him to the train station again. It's just like, okay. Like, I get it. It's government black site shit. But, you figured that they would have treated him a little bit better considering that he's Gendo's son.
Are you kidding me? Gendo would have pushed him downstairs. What are you talking about?
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
That, or he would have
Gendo
fucking
doesn't give a shit.
that. He would have brain the jarred him and then just threw him into pilot seat, whichever of the two happens first.
Yeah.
Whichever one was more convenient to him.
Yeah.
So before Shinji ends up boarding the train, he spots Kensuke and Toji, and Toji's like, "Hey, it's not like I was worried about you or anything, but why don't you go ahead and punch me? Just come on, punch me." He was like, I don't know if I should. Come on, just do it." And so he like winds up and goes, "Hey, just make sure you do it really hard." All right, wham! And then behind him, you could see the government guys like just standing back and smiling, like, "Yeah, little kids wailing on each other. This is fun." And then
they are low for entertainment there. This is true.
pretty much. It does seem like anything is go at in this particular area. It's kind of fucked up, especially when you think about the fact that kids are probably just on their own, like you mentioned. So he's about ready to board the train, and he's like having some doubts. Train comes, Toji and Kensuke are watching, and then Masato suddenly shows up because she has an epiphany, like, I need to be there. I suddenly realized something. And then she's like, fuck, I'm too late. Train goes by for like 30 seconds. And then she's just standing there, looking off in the same direction where the train's going, not using her peripheral vision whatsoever. Looks down, suddenly looks back up. Oh, camera pans, just like you said. There's Shinji. And then they just stand there and stare at each other for a full fucking minute.
Yeah, it definitely feels like almost a full minute.
Yeah. And then when they finally talk, they get close. They say, hey, why don't you come home? All right, cool. Credits. So yeah,
I think you're missing the entire point of him still looking as depressed as he was before.
Oh, he doesn't change.
Yeah, he just forgot to get on the train.
So
hey, by the way, you're right. It's basically almost a minute. It's like 55 seconds. It's just on that one still.
That is budget, man. So I'm looking at the notes here on the wiki, and it says this is the only episode that series creator Hideaki Anno did not write or co-write. This might be because it wasn't originally planned in the plot outlines. He quotes, in actuality, this episode was once omitted in terms of the series composition, and it was planned that what is now episode 5 would come after episode 3. But as production progressed, staff members voiced their opinion that perhaps there was a need to depict Shinji's relationship with the people around him after episode 3. Thus, the episode was made, greatly changing the contents from what had originally been conceived. Because of this, the script for this episode, written after the fact, and after episode 5 had already been finalized, this is the one and only episode of all the TV and movie episodes in which Anno did not have a hand directing in the plot or script. So it was basically done as an after the fact kind of issue. And I get why they did that, because they felt like that they needed some pacing. Honestly, they probably could have done that just a little bit in episode 5 instead. That's just me.
Mhm.
It's kind of funny because if you remember, Shinji was basically in his own room, quote unquote, for like 5 days, right after he got released.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Meaning that they thought that, you know what we're gonna do to show people's relationship with Shinji, and show all the people that were in episode 3 that were there, right there, the 2 guys and all Makoto and whatnot, right? Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll have them go talk to him 5 days after the events happen. It's like, okay, so you wanted to pick the relationships, and yet you then choose to make the people around him who should be appreciative of him, specifically the 2 kids, his classmates, go, you know what? We know what we're gonna do. We're gonna ghost Shinji for 5 days and then go talk to him.
Yeah.
Even though they're
Yes.
like, I'm beating myself up. I really want to talk to him. I go, you could really? You don't do that shit like day 1, 2 at the most? Like, you don't go over there and be like, hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for saving me. Nothing really. 5 days.
So
Not to
future
mention,
spoilers for the manga version. He apparently leaves that night. Masato finds out that night, and he's gone for 2 days.
oh, so it's literally the show when the guy isn't around, when Ano isn't around, that the show actually made it a little bit like weirder. Okay.
Yep.
See, that makes way more sense in the manga, actually.
Dude,
You
like
say
I
it
said,
that.
all the different changes that they have for this makes it feel like it's part of what should have been there instead. Like when we get to it, you're gonna have a full understanding.
So I had a thought after watching these 3 episodes, and episode 4 was like the culminating point of this. You know how there's like a desire to like keep redoing certain IPs or remixing them or making them shorter in some way, right?
Mhm.
Dragon Ball Z Kai, for instance,
Mhm.
or making them more adaptable to the original source manga, Brotherhood. This Evangelion would be like 13 episodes if one sentence was said, which is, hey, you can't leave, humanity dies otherwise, like from Gendo to Shinji.
Mhm.
Because I thought about like all these little side episodes and everyone talking, and especially if they just cut it for time, like a normal show, not cut it for length to hit a number to ship it. This show would be so much more shorter. Because like this episode right here, almost all of 4 probably wouldn't exist. I think all of 4 would be like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
If it would be like Dragon Ball Z Kai, for instance, in the center outcome, like, damn, all this is a lot of misunderstanding and no one telling Shinji how actually important he is.
It's almost like
You can still
Seinfeld
treat him
episode,
like
but
shit.
no comedy.
Exactly. Honestly, you're not entirely wrong. What's it called? I keep forgetting her name. The captain.
Oh, Masato?
Yeah, Masato's Kramer.
She is.
Yeah, she's
Straight
Kramer.
up.
Mhm.
So David, why don't you tell us
Kensukere
about
is
episode
Elaine.
5? No, his name's
Episode 5.
Kensuke.
Kensuke is Elaine.
Oh my god. Wow.
That means you're Elaine. No,
You know what? I'm okay with that. She's a good person.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. That's what she is.
Why don't you tell us about
I'll,
episode
I'll,
5?
I'll sum up episode 5 as the beginning of the genuinely uncomfortable parts of Evangelion, depending on who you are and how much you tolerate it. This is kind of where the weird romance eyes from Gendo to Rei is, because this is basically Rei's beginning episode of showing what happens with her, the berserking, Ava Zero units, Gendo getting his hand burned, and did he actually explain why she hasn't synced up to Ava Unit 0 at that point, other than saying psychological problems?
All they said is
No,
psychological
they just
problems.
keep-
There is a reason, but I can't tell anything without future spoilers.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm.
So yeah, that's like the
Mm.
crux of it, right? It opens up with very slow, cost-effective shots of we're gonna do the booting sequence, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and it cuts in between like like after the test and before the test. They have a nice shot of the cross there at some important time to really emphasize what these Avas may or may not be. Who knows? Oh, spoilers. It's not like symbolism is in there.
Wait, hang on. So, do you watch the intro every single time? Do either of you watch it every single time, or do you skip it?
I
I
skip it.
watch it.
You do watch it? I know David said he
I-
skips it.
I watch it depending on how I'm feeling. Like after episode 4, I had to watch it for episode 5. I needed a moment to like cleanse my palate from
I get that.
that. uh, um, uh, And then I watched it again after episode 5 because I was like, oh damn.
So
I,
it's interesting how they
yeah.
have it set up in the Blu-rays that I have. Occasionally, they will show
Mhm.
the Japanese lyrics, but then they'll go into the English lyrics instead.
Oh yeah.
But
A lot of shows do that when you're
the
streaming them.
the thing that I wanted to talk about is there's a lot of cut moments in the intro itself where it almost looks like subliminal messaging, and I think they do that on purpose.
Hmm. Yeah.
Do you remember seeing like where it gets towards the end of it? There's a big giant that's covered in a white light that looks like an Ava.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
wanted to point that out. They say that after a certain word, and if either you end up watching the intro again and try to pay attention to like all the different things that are said before they show like the little snips, there's a
Hmm.
huge clue as to what certain things are that they don't outright say in the show itself.
Yeah.
But so you were mentioning about Unit Zero going berserk. You will see a slightly different, kind of more hardcore version of that in the Rebuild movie, where
Okay.
instead of just punching the wall, it will slam its head against the wall multiple times until it batteries out.
I actually vaguely remember
Hmm.
seeing that in like something from somewhere
I,
before.
I remember seeing that online.
Yeah, it's
I
Yeah.
remember
intense.
seeing it online for in back when I used to watch the AMVs, but
Hmm.
I saw that and that was brutal.
Yeah.
That was freaking brutal. I'm like, oh shit. Like, I don't remember seeing that when I watched Evangelion, but
So in
shit.
this version, you see where it's like slamming its fist against the wall. It's like holding
Mhm.
its head, trying to like it feels like it's trying to maintain composure or sanity. In the movie version, it does all that, but then when it gets up to another wall, it slams it and starts howling while it's slamming against the wall. And starts slamming it first, then faster and faster and faster, and you feel like it's just gonna end up breaking through or bust its fucking head open. But boom, batteries run out. So intense. But David,
Okay,
so
and
you mentioned the most I guess you could say the egregious part where everything's uncomfortable.
I
Yeah.
have a question.
Sure.
I have a
What's
question for
up?
both of you.
Right.
Uh, and it pertains to this the opening of this episode. Why are the cockpits so freaking hot?
What do you mean?
Like I know
You mean
what
the
I can
plugs?
understand. No, why is like the plug so freaking hot? Like every single time it ejects, they burn themselves trying to open it. Why is the outside so freaking hot that it burns them? I know understand why in the next episode it's hot. In this episode, I really don't.
If I had to take a shot in the dark based on when this was made and where people might have thought about like I'm getting I'm about to say I could be overthinking it, but I'm just thinking about it from the sense of like, yeah, it is kind of weird how like they could depict this in many different ways, but they choose to do that, right? So after the symbolism of someone hurting themselves to save somebody else, right? There's that
Hmm.
aspect of it, especially due to Gendo being overly fond of Ray. But
Which
separately
really
from
gave me Slade Wilson flashes.
right? But
Me
like
too.
side of that, there's also this aspect of like whenever you make these mechanical things, right? Especially like in older media, they don't really think about like cooling them down or how that would operate or not, because like the idea of like, oh yeah, it'll just be hot because it's operating energy kind of a thing, right? It's just gonna be hot because you're putting a lot of energy in it. So I feel like as sci-fi has gone a bit more advanced, they look for ways to mitigate the obvious of little things like that. Because I'll see it like in sci-fi shows or in anime when occasionally when I would watch it. Right, there's even a cooling system in Gundam, for instance. Right,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but it isn't in Ava, and I kind of thought that like, oh, I kind of wonder if it was kind of the situation of like they didn't bother to think that like their science fiction in a more sophisticated way than well, yeah, of course it's gonna run hot. It has all that energy going through it, and then it just kind of kept it trucking. That's my whole thing, where it's like, yeah, that's kind of been a bit more. People who think about their science fiction a bit more harder than just baseline, right? And of like, how would it cool? Would it hurt people when they use it? Things like that.
I think you might be right on the money there because one, think of it like a computer. Computers constantly need to be cooled to begin with. But then on top of that, you mentioned the energy. All the different checks and balances that they have to do to make sure that she is synchronized to the damn thing. You got to think that it's
Yeah.
emitting a fuck ton of energy to the point where it could probably like if they weren't, insulated properly that they would probably fry upon insertion.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hmm.
And not to mention, like
Okay.
the coolest amount of the closer we get to a cooling solution is weirdly enough the pod itself being suspended in water would at least distribute that heat a little bit more than the average. And the plug suits, in theory, granted their face would get burned otherwise, but like
Mhm.
the water, I'm sure is like really hot as well because it's there to help probably like distribute heat essentially, right? Because water is really good at that to a certain degree.
Hmm.
So that's another thing.
My question is because literally in episode 3, when the other kids climb in, the outside of it is cool. They were able to climb in. They were able to climb into the plug
Yeah.
easily.
Okay, but if we're
And
okay,
then,
I have a way to combat that. You ready? So when Rei
hmm,
was ejected, that was a force ejection. Shinji's was not. So his was operational
Yeah.
ejection to the point where it was probably cooled because of that specific motion that he told it to do.
I think remember what Ray Pod was doing. It wasn't just an ejection sequence. It had 3 engines, and it put her in the upper left right hand corner of the room, ejecting all that
mm,
heat
yeah,
just on itself the entire time.
Hmm.
yeah, it had her bouncing around that room.
I get why you're thinking that
Hmm.
though, but it kind of makes more sense when you think you've got one controlled situation and then you've got another situation where it's completely chaotic.
Yeah, it was just like the fact that I was wondering why it was like always scalding hot, but yeah, it was a little complicated. It confused me for a
You
moment.
can go with a
So,
different head cannon. Once you stick it in, it's always going to be hot.
oh, I was just gonna go with I think that since the Avas are actually living things, that when the pod goes in, the internal body temperature of an Eva increases
You see, I
the
was
outer
making a dick
temperature.
joke. Come on,
Yeah, I didn't want to play along.
play with that little dick joke. Play with that little.
That's horrific.
Speaking of horrifics,
Mm-mm.
David, continue, please.
So we're then reminded a little bit later after the test that especially if you grew up religious, the angels being a match to humanity isn't that big of a surprise
Oh,
if
you
you
mean with the
know
99.98%
yeah.
like correlation between the two?
Exactly, because like obviously the Bible doesn't get into like math specifics, but like we are told that the angels were made in God's image. Angels are servants of God. We are similar to them, but different because we're given free will, and they're the servants, so they're different from us in that separation. But like we're all in that same very closeness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So another little hint of hey guys, you getting the picture yet? A little bit happens here, but then you see the affectionate eyes between Ray and Gendo, and then also too, it also helps the fact that a little bit later on past this point, you're then reminded that they're all 14 years old. So,
Yeah.
fun times. Like I know that like there's plenty of people who don't literally care at all because it's like the whole either one because the anime or two because Japanese like lolly and showed us shit, but like it's always for me a little weird to see. I'm just like, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing if it's like the teenagers, going after each other, but then when you get the adults involved, yeah, it's that's like a line that you're like, I'm not willing to cross that.
I think what makes it like worse isn't future information. It's the fact that like okay, for me, I can ignore certain parts of that and it won't actually get a rise out of me. I'll just look at it, I'll make fun of it later, or I'll make fun of people who like genuinely like that kind of stuff, but like, I don't feel anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I don't feel anything. But then I think about like what made the scene kind of fucked up to watch is the fact that like for a fact he never once ever looked at Shinji like that or
Nope.
cared at all. There was zero
Yeah,
affection ever, and it's
like it
like,
literally,
damn,
it's literally his son just got out of the mech and was wrecked. He did not even visit his son in the hospital.
Dude,
yep,
You
no. Like
know, it
no care
wasn't like
whatsoever.
bullshit. Like, but this other girl gets hurt. He is wrenching that pod open to rescue her. It's like, like that is just uncomfortable. And the fact that that Shinji keeps looking at her and wondering what his dad sees in her that makes him care about her, and the fact that the first and only time we've seen him smile so far in this series, he is smiling at a 14-year-old girl.
Yep.
who is clearly crushing on him.
Yep.
That can sum that up. um,
Like and it's not even one of those like uncomfortable smiles. It's just, I'm happy talking to you.
Like if he
Like,
was normally smiling most of the time, I probably
mm,
wouldn't look at that scene at all and like, oh well, he's
yeah,
always smiling. Who cares? But like, it's the fact that we know we've seen the past 3 episodes where like he's a dickhead
yeah.
and he doesn't do that shit, and
it's
then now
funny.
he's like
We will
overly
get a
fond. It's like,
character who constantly smiles, and then you're going to be thinking, "Huh." So his little.
well, yeah. I
Mm,
mean, there's always gonna be the opposite, right?
Hmm.
But
yeah.
you know,
But this is just like, something was wrong there. Like, it was clear. And
So you mentioned
all I got.
Shinji staring at Rei the entire time. Not only does he do that at the base, he does it at school. But
he
Hmm.
does it.
that seems a little bit more appropriate until his buddies, make fun of him for it.
Oh, his
I mean,
buddies are trying to figure out if he's actually checking her out, and then they get literally creeped off by the fact that he's like, I don't ever see her talking to people. And then they look at him like, what the fuck? You noticing that about her? Not like she's got big boobs in her swimsuit.
I didn't really take it like that from them. It was more so for me. It was more so like they kind of got at least Ken did. Ken got a little a bit more somber there. Toji looked a little confused.
Yeah,
Toji's,
like,
yeah.
but
We,
it was
we
like,
we can all
oh,
assume what
okay.
Toji's like.
Yeah.
So David, what happens like after the school stuff? Like, I think they're all at Misato's place eating dinner, right?
Yeah, we find out that this lady Masato can't she fucks up putting shit in the microwave apparently because she manages to make that taste like dog shit.
Oh, that's right.
But
We get the funny moment with Pen Pen.
yeah, that
He
penguin man,
dies.
he deserves better, you know.
God. So
Mhm.
We all find out that Misato can't cook, like David said, and everybody who's there, it's Misato, it's Shinji, it's Ritsuko, and then they like with Shinji and Ritsuko, they try to eat it, and they look like they're about to vomit. Pen Pen is seen with like a little dog bowl with all the same stuff in it, and a can of beer.
Yeah, that confused the hell out of me. I'm like, why'd you give him a beer?
And then he like goes down to sniff it. He's like, "Yeah, I ain't doing it." And then he tries it anyway. He's about to vomit. That was
He's an
hilarious.
adult. That's why
He
he pays
he
taxes.
He does. That's why he gets to live in the
he
fridge.
collapses in the background.
Uh, but what does Ritsuko bring?
An ID for Rage, for Shinji to go give it to her tomorrow because for whatever reason they can't get that handled any other way.
It
You know
did
what I
feel
mean?
like it was a little like a forced interaction that they were planning.
Yep. And we get a first real depiction of what this world might actually be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we hear about people leaving the area, and we hear about, obviously the whole, population gets cut in half. They got Thanos snapped, right? Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
or mathematically, apparently, in half. Who knows what it actually is, right? And then we see this side of this building. She's going up this apartment building, and like doors are kicked in. The sliding doors to the balcony is shattered. Like
Like it
this
straight up
place
looks
is,
ghetto.
yeah, like there's open holes where there'll be a window on the walk up, which is like the thing you don't want to have opened, and they're just like, no, everything's completely dilapidated. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there's only 5 people living in this 100-unit building. That's how dilapidated it is. But weirdly though, maybe this is old mail or not, but there's like Ray's room is like full of like mail that she's never opened or doesn't give a shit about.
Kind of feels like my. I was like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, I do that. Except it's just sitting in a corner.
Yep.
Mm.
And for whatever reason, Shinji decides to walk in her house. Doesn't he's because he unfortunately he's a very quiet person for this entire episode, which is kind of painful in this situation where
Mhm.
like one solid yell of like, "Hey, are you okay?" kind of a thing. Because I feel like he walked in a situation where he should have started getting loud or should have left
Like,
immediately.
in the dub I watch, he rings the doorbell like 3 times and then says, "Hello, it's Shinji Ikari. I'm here for Ray."
So in our dub, he rings it, but it doesn't actually sound. The
Yeah,
Oh
doorbell's
we
yeah,
don't
broken.
hear a bell.
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't sound in that one either.
Okay.
And in the Japanese version, he's also like really quiet. Like he's like, "Hello, it's Shinji." He's like really really low. But
Yeah.
then he walks in, he sees the blood in the pillow, doesn't fucking scream, get loud, or try to move with any sort of urgency. He just kind of like exists in the room.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah.
being a
I'm
fly
like,
in the wall, like a real creep.
there's blood on her pillow. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
if this was someone who wasn't in this, I don't know, for him showing as much care as he showed for Ray, of like willing to basically get himself killed to pilot the robot, to not let her go in it when she was all fucked up because the power of girls is watching, right? And he does this
Yeah.
technically twice for her benefit, and then like he sees it in a situation where I feel like any other person would be like, wait a minute, this person is like got beaten to death and was taken out because like all that blood in her pillow, and then just stands there, doesn't isn't even remotely alarmed by what he's saying. I'm just like, God, you're such a weird person.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And then he ends up finding the glasses, and he kind of gets jealous, but also like curious at the same time.
Oh, wait, this goes back to your previous statement, by the way, Paul, about the whole heat thing. Those glasses did bend, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? They were slightly twisted, which means like
No, they cracked due to the heat.
no,
They
no,
cracked due
They
to
did
the heat.
both.
that's just no, the frames flex too. That's what more so I was
Oh,
getting
Yeah.
at, which means the frames itself is like probably plastic or something, because you're not gonna have metal flex on itself like that when you put it in really hot
Yeah,
water.
no.
So like yeah, no, like they're getting boiled. Oh wait, they're getting boiled alive slowly before they. Oh, okay, I see the symbolism. Yeah, the frog in the water. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Wow, it took that long to get to that.
I wasn't thinking about getting boiled alive because, like, it just didn't dawn on me to think like that.
It's all right.
Mm-mm.
So he finds the glasses, and with the glasses, he puts them on, thinking, these aren't hers. They've got to be someone else's. I wonder who. And then he turns around, and this is where the uncomfortable part comes in, isn't it?
This is
Mm.
not as uncomfortable, but more so like, it's a situation where, like, oh, yeah, this is definitely a Japanese anime because you run into the classic gag of kid is so imbalanced and girl is so indifferent or is shocked to move, to where the bumbling boy knocks over a few things and lands on top of her and starts grabbing her boob by accident as he lands on top of her because,
Well, what's interesting about that is that they don't play it off for laughs. They play it off as in,
yeah.
like, this is a very serious moment that just he happened to fuck
Mm-hmm.
up.
At least they had enough nerve and decency to not like have a music like audio change track like this scene actually matters to either one of them. So like
Mhm.
it definitely
Mm-hmm.
does. The scene that definitely set to like he's awkward because he knows he shouldn't be doing what he's doing, but I don't think Shinji cares right this second. He more other than embarrassment,
Mhm.
and Ray doesn't give a
Mm-hmm.
fuck.
Yeah. And it's
Which
not
is
even like it gets referred to afterwards.
nope.
Like normally an anime would refer to it later on, and that would be like a thing about their dynamic.
Yep.
It's neither of them think of it as anything more than a weird situation they were in for a moment.
Well, he
That
tries to
does not
bring it
matter
up,
to
but she
them.
just like, what happened? Like, it's
Yeah,
like
Oh
she
she's
no.
like,
really
oh,
did not give a fuck.
Yeah.
yep. She's like, oh, Shinji fell in my room. That's it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So she gets dressed while he's stammering, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm here for trying to your card," and then she just leaves.
In a show that loves to have long silence with just a camera swapping from position A to position B, I would have loved silence at that point. That would
That
have
would have been
been
good.
Appreciated it.
less awkward.
I'm gonna do a slight spoiler here. In the manga, that scene is also changed.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
When we get to it, I'll explain everything about it. It's so weird how they change, and just feels a little bit better because of the way that they do that.
Mm.
So because she left him behind, he has to go catch up and give her card. She's trying to pass hers through the little train station ticket center, and it won't accept it. She's like, "Well, here you go." Just snatches it from him and uses it anyway. God, it's like you
Yeah.
can tell that there's a little bit of personality there, just slightly, and it seems like it's full of possible rage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we see the rage happen literally 15 seconds later, in
Oh,
which
Yes.
Shinji is like, nah, I don't trust my father. I don't have faith in him. And then she proceeds to turn around and smack him in the face.
She
You
does not
know?
hold back on that slap. That was just
Yeah.
bang.
That was direct on an escalator too.
Yeah.
That was
Like,
what I would call a frame one response.
like, fuck.
But then we are suddenly called to action. Another angel has appeared. David, what did you think of the look of this angel?
Math is pretty scary.
Fuck you,
Ge-
Pythagoras.
Geometry was my weakness. I'm just telling you, I didn't do well in geometry class. I didn't care. I didn't pay attention.
You know what? I
And it
respect that.
shows.
Because me too.
Yeah.
Hashtag
and it
triangles suck.
and it shows because we because since this anime we said multiple the anime's old even during these days it's nice to see someone break tradition of oh you're gonna have your cool transformation moment, nah son, I'm gonna stuff that shit in the pocket. You're not gonna sit there, and play your little flute and call the Megazord. Nah, it's on
No.
site, bro. Because
Yeah.
as the angel's floating over and its big dumb trapezoid ass fucking diamond ass looking self, Unit One rises up. Shinji looks confident for about 5 seconds to when he gets frame one no scoped by the angel, big hole in the chest, and then episode's over.
Yep.
We're done with Ava. There is no 6. We're done. He got sniped right in the chest. The story of Shinji's done.
The angels win.
Man, that was fast as fuck. It was
Yeah.
like, wait, it's charging up? What's it gonna do? What's it gonna do? The moment he pops up, boosh.
He spawn camped his ass.
Yeah.
That was a
Like,
hell of a
I was
way to
like-
end that episode.
It was like, yeah, no.
So, Paul, lead us into 6, because obviously that's big transition right there.
Okay, so 6 starts. Oh man, I'm trying to remember how 6 starts out again.
It starts with the
Okay,
hole in the chest.
yeah. The 6 starts out with them going, oh, okay, so Shinji survived. He basically had a heart attack and he's okay. We're just waiting for him to wake up. But that blast lasted a couple seconds and went through 3 layers of its armor. If
Yeah.
we waited a couple more seconds, it would have went straight through him.
They had to
So-
drop him. Like, open up the
Yeah,
hatch he
like-
just came out of and just drop him.
They're like, yeah, dropped him. We're replacing him right now. We're on a time crunch, and apparently the giant freaking geometric shape in the sky.
I was going to say the giant geometry
is
problem.
Yeah, like it is a fucking problem. It is a geometry problem because it's in the sky, and then it goes. You know what? I want to drill a hole, and I'm not going to stop until I kill these people underneath the ground. So drill a hole.
So, couple things here. One, it is a giant fucking drill, but you can't really see the scope of it. But according to some data I found, it's basically a drill that's 17.5 meters wide, and it's just like, good lord. On top of that, David, I know you've
Yeah.
only
Oh,
seen
wait.
clips of the
I
movie.
do want to say something about this before we get to that. It does feel like we missed an episode in between.
Because they jump right
in
into
between
it, right?
5 and 6. Yeah, like they go from, you don't see Shinji dropping, you don't see the thing settling on a position and then drilling in. All you see is now there's this weird looking drill that doesn't even look, it doesn't look like in anything the angels would have. Like they have a specific aesthetic. This doesn't look like that as aesthetic. It literally looks more mechanical in my opinion.
Mechanical or I would say angelic, because it doesn't seem like something that we would be able to create.
And it actually seems more like something that we would have created.
Fuck you.
Because it literally because it literally looks like it has chains running on the outside to gears that are basically just tunneling down.
So
And it's a giant cylinder. I'm like, what is the point? Like, if they didn't say it was from the angel, I would be really confused because this feels like I was watching one show and then I jumped into another.
So here's the fun fact about this. It's where it goes back into like people's depiction of angels, right? Because I kind of haven't read the Old Testament in a very long time, and the reason why I bring that up is, as you look at it, it is the center. What would be the drill bit, right? Normally has those. You've seen these kind of chain teeth before, right? Because of the whole angel thing. One of the depictions of angels is a ribbon like structure holding multiple eyes in place as it perceives and the truth of whatever it is looking at, right? The whole joke about biblically accurate angels, right?
Yeah, they're all eyes.
And so, like, I saw that, and while it isn't obviously a perfect circle, right? But like, I saw that, I'm like, oh, you are kind of drilling towards the immediate truth of whatever you're viewing as your problem right now, right? Which is nerve and whatever they have down there that you want. So I saw this perfectly cylinder, unmarked, purple cylinder thing with basically a double row band, and then the circles in the middle of it are supposed to be drilling inwards. I'm like, oh, it reminded me a little bit of that biblically accurate angel thing.
So, to piggyback off of all that, the movie version of this angel named Ramiel, it comes in as the giant geometric shape, but then because of the budget, that thing changes shape the entire time it is there to match whatever threat is up against.
I wonder which one came first, the movie or Final Fantasy IX with Ozuma that does the exact same thing.
9.
Nice.
But it does it in a different way compared to Ozma, where it will, like, Ozma shows up as a giant orb at first, and I don't really remember the specifics, but the way that the movie version of this giant shape does it, it's almost liquid to the point where it will form, like, you could see it forming itself as a concentrated point of energy, so it can fire off its cannon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the closest we get. This is a joke from, not really a joke, it's this statement I've heard people who served in the military say. This episode is the closest I think we'll see in a while to the concept of hurry up and wait as a concept. This reason why it's kind of funny how you mentioned earlier where it feels like we kind of missed a few bits between there and then. It's like, yeah, this is the hurry up and wait episode. We don't need to see Shinji getting out of the pod. We just have to hurry up and then do nothing.
Pretty much.
It really is, because we see them getting, well, we don't see them getting everything. We get basically a montage of them getting all the equipment that they need and doing what they need so that they can fight this new angel.
What is it? What's their plan? What's Masato's plan?
Okay, so Masato's plan is to visit Shinji's dad in his office.
No, I want the full plan. Like, what does she want out of all this?
She wants to shoot the angel with, like, a giant laser beam.
Here we go.
Like, she just wants to shoot it with a giant laser beam that
specifically a positron beam rifle to shoot it out.
That uses all the power in Japan to fire it.
Yes. Which like, is insane.
The island has to be blacked out so that they can fire this thing like a couple times.
Dude, like, straight up, I have to wonder how the power company is going to bill people for that.
Easy, they don't. Like, government oversight. Walk it off.
Maybe.
And this is like, and also I do feel like this is like one of those big episodes where even if she didn't get that warrant to take it, she already had Rei in the Eva to jack the shit, because literally all she does is, Rei, okay, and Rei lifts up the roof and just starts taking the shit out.
Oh yeah.
Like, roofs don't work like that.
This is also the closest we see to the beginning of what would be like kind of like a gag manga in the but even before that bit, because you have Masato being all like, decoy, shoots a little gun, doesn't do anything. Next, big cannon on railroad, gun, didn't do anything. All right, bitch, I'm gonna shoot you with the gun at some point in time. Well, you stay right there. I'm gonna go get the biggest gun we have.
It's funny, they could have gone with like the littlest one just to see what they could have done, like the fucking noisy cricket from Men in
I would put
Black.
noisy cricket, yeah.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna go with like the tiniest thing. We're basically gonna make a Barrett 50 cal for an Eva that has like 3 rounds.
Now,
and the first one.
1 second. So David, you mentioned the different dummies that show up. I thought that was actually a brilliant idea for her to show like random Ava cardboard cutouts basically to show up and see if the thing would react. And of course, it would. It fucking blew that shit away so fast, and then it went back to drilling. It's like, let's keep on going.
Yeah, right. Like it just now. I think the question is I'm kind of curious about is like did the robot did the angel know that actually was a Ava, or did it actually think it was a Ava, or didn't care? Just I see target, target goes away now.
Yeah,
That is
I
a
Obviously,
good
think that's
question.
it.
Yeah, this is weird like observational thing, but it doesn't really matter in the end. But I'm just like I kind of wonder.
Mhm.
They did say it later on. They said that they tested to see where what its reaction range was when it would begin to react to a target versus when it won't.
Oh no,
So
not
that's
the
why they kept
range.
doing it.
I meant more so discerning targets. Like, does the target need to have a power source? Does it really just whoever comes near him that looks like a threat on sight?
It's like when
Is it
cops
purely
go through
Ava
their
based?
training and they have to determine what's a criminal, what's
Nope,
not,
nope, don't
what's
say
a
it.
hostage.
Don't fucking say it.
What? Is
It's
it
like
criminal or hostage?
no.
What were
It's more
you
like the
thinking?
AT.
No.
No, that's not true. It's more like the ATF, right? If they see a human, they might talk to them. If they see a dog, they instantly shoot it.
There you go.
It's like that. It's
Yeah.
like that policy, you know.
Paul, I am going to call you out on that later.
I can't.
They have 15 ways to shoot a dog.
I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna make the worst joke ever.
No, that's what Patreon is
Oh,
for. Uh,
ugh.
so, this whole operation with the positron rifle is called Operation Yashima, and basically you've got Shinji being the gunner, and you've got Rei being quote unquote the decoy and the shield at the same time. They basically mapped everything out to where at midnight they're gonna start setting shit up to make sure that everybody is aware that they can't use any power. They're gonna be out of power at that time. And if they end up getting shot, they only have a 20-second window, and technically only 17 seconds because the shield that they have is only going to last that long against that fucking particle beam that we get from the angel. So Ritsuko tells Shinji, "Hey, all you need to do is pull the trigger, but I need you to account for the fact that the Earth is on on a rotational axis. There's going to be wind and a whole bunch of other things that you need to configure, but it's okay. It's going to do it for you. But I need you to remember that it's going to do that."
Yeah, that was a strange one. That's once again, this show lives and dies, and the end of this episode will prove this. Where remember before I said earlier that you just tell Shinji one sentence, this show becomes infinitely shorter. The tension of this episode would be ruined by that one sentence.
Yes.
Because I do like the setup of all this for the most part, right? I even like that part where like it's like I give you this unnecessary information where before it's your problem, but psych actually it isn't. I did kind of like I had a little amusement smile out of it, you know. I was like, okay, I see what you did there.
Yeah, but we get to the moment of action. They get to that point where they have everything set up and they notice that it's about ready to take charge at them. So they say, "Get ready to fire, get ready to fire." He lines everything up. He shoots, and it should be on target, but unfortunately, it also shot at the exact same time. And what do they say in Ghostbusters, Paul?
Oh wow!
Don't cross the stream.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Finally.
Don't cross the stream. I'm sorry. That literally made
threw
me
you off, huh?
laugh. I was like, shit.
But no, that's essentially what happened. It's the two opposing forces going against each other and then wrapping themselves around and then shooting off in different directions. So nobody.
Also known as biblically accurate Dragon Ball Z beam clashes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Straight up. It even had that little like penis shape at the very end of it. But
yeah, it did. Actually, that's the reason why I thought of that. That's why I started thinking of Dragon Ball Kai afterwards. It was that scene.
But nobody was hurt, at least with regards to the operation. Don't know if any of the beams ended up going anywhere else, but at least nobody in the operation was hurt at that moment. But because Shinji fucked up, so to speak, they had to discharge that ammo that they had and reload it, which takes a full 20 seconds to do. And that thing was already gearing up for another shot super, super quickly. So that's when Rei jumps in.
Actually, real quick, I have to ask you, when that scene happens, what did it say in your dub? Do you remember?
Ooh, no.
Because I'm watching the original dub.
I'm watching the one with you, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, in the new one, it just says the shot missed, and then it says Makoto says
Makoto.
recharge the whatever. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit what her name is. I'm not gonna
Misato
watch this show
Kisaragi, you put
after.
respect on her name.
I ain't no, she is not my bright Noah. She don't deserve respect. She doesn't
Right,
slap pilots
Noah.
great.
God damn.
What a
She doesn't
callback.
slap pilots great. She doesn't.
But go on,
So
Paul.
no.
What's said?
Okay. She says charge the next fuse,
So
which makes
it,
no fucking sense to me.
I think it's on the second reload, or it's the first one when they first put a round in the chamber. Essentially, they say cock your gun. I'm like, don't say.
Oh
Cock
yeah.
your...
Yeah. Yeah.
Why'd you say
Cock
that?
the gun.
I mean,
No,
to be fair, that is
makes
something that is
no
said.
fucking
No, it's
Yeah,
called
but
chambering the
no.
round, not
No, but like
Yeah.
cock it and pull it.
no.
No. Anyone in the military or anyone who has anything to do with the JSDF would know chamber the round or chamber the first round.
Yeah, command wouldn't say cock your gun. That's something that the grunts would say
No.
on the ground.
Well, don't forget,
Yeah.
she's also pretty much a newbie. Like
No,
she may be a
when
commanding
she's in
officer, but
command,
she's new to that whole shit.
no. When she's in command, you can tell she is not in the joking around moments.
Yeah, but it doesn't
She
mean that
is
she
like
has to know everything.
100%.
But I don't know, it's just weird. It's just a weird thing to
Uh,
say, you know.
It's also probably
Yeah.
dubism.
Yeah, it could be. Who knows what it actually is the word they used in Japan is, right?
Right.
Yeah, they probably
a lot
just
of-
used it
yeah.
because
And it's
lack of
anything too, right?
syllables.
Even then, I would think because I read One Piece, right? Sometimes a word that's used actually isn't the word that you're supposed to be interpreting from, because it's like the wordplay kind of a thing that a lot of authors like to use. So who knows if
Oh,
like,
you mean like with Naruto, where it was Date Bio, and then they changed it in America to believe it?
yeah, pretty much
Hmm.
things like that. So who knows what it actually is? But I do like how as two things in this part is the I said it last time with the whole like N2 mine. They obviously aren't going to do nuclear symbolism wholeheartedly where they make it show like that, but like whenever I see a giant amount of energy going up in a cylinder like object into the sky like that, I'm always like, nuclear weapon. I'm like every time, because that kind of level of energy and where it goes tends to look like that. You know what I mean? Because like your normal conventional weapons tend to have just a wide area plume for the most part. So when you see that happen, I'm like, all right, another nuclear symbolism, I guess.
I want to add on to that with the fact that just in terms of where the plot leads. So obviously it hits Ray, and then in that time, Shinji's able to charge up and then fire off again and hit it. You would think with the amount of energy that's charged up that you mentioned that is slamming right into that angel, that it would have had more of an impact to actually show around it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But the movie does change it that way, and I can't wait for you to see it. It's so fucking wild.
By the way, I do love how you either like even Ray's like, hey Shinji, if you're not gonna jump in, I'll do I'll pilot unit 1, and then seeing how that episode ended, right, with her blocking with the shield, I'm like, you just would have been deleted. You just would have been a stain on the side of the mountain.
But remember, she really doesn't care about her own life.
She does not at all.
No, she does not. She just cares about what she has to do to make Shinji's dad happy.
But that changes a little bit towards the end of this episode, because as soon as Ramiel is defeated, Shinji gets out of the Eva and goes to her entry plug, which has been ejected, and he goes to save her just like his dad did, scarring his hands and everything because it's all fucking hot.
No, he's not gonna have his hands scarred. He's in the plug suit.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Still
fucking hot.
You do see it sizzling on his hands while he climbs in there to get to her.
But
yeah, that's true.
He does get to her. He sees her. And he's crying because he's overfilled with joy knowing that she's still alive. And she asks, why are you crying? It's because I'm happy. Well, I don't really know what to do in these situations. I'm happy too, but I don't know what to do. Well, why don't you fucking smile? And then you get kind of like this weird, creepy smile, and then it cuts to credits.
You're actually missing an important part here.
Which part?
When she sees Shinji and Shinji smiles back after she said that, she has a second flash of Gendo.
Oh, she thinks it's Gendo.
Smiling as well.
Yeah. So she
like,
definitely sees that in him.
Yeah.
So guys,
literally, she is literally wanting. If she can't have one, she will take the other.
I don't
No,
know if it's that kind of
you're
situation.
you're giving her way too much credit. There is no thought in that skull.
Damn.
Head empty, only Gundam.
Yeah, I'm
There is
probably
there is
using that for the preview.
Wow.
there is not a singular thought in that skull. You could play pickleball in her fucking skull. There is nothing there except
Jesus
for the one
Christ.
thought you're gonna bounce around.
So
Yeah,
before we get into ratings and rankings, I want to go over the
Mm.
differences that were for not only these 3 episodes, but for the last 3 between the manga and this. So obviously the show came first, and including the movie End of Evangelion. The character designer Yoshiyuki Sadamoto, he ended up just getting permission from Gainax and Anno to actually go ahead and recreate his own interpretation. Basically almost doing beat for beat the same plot that you get from the show into the manga. And almost all of it looks like a full-on recreation, but there are plenty of minor differences. Some, I would say, almost major, but it really all depends on how you feel considering where they go with the plot. So, the first 3 volumes actually encompass episodes 1 through 6, which I was shocked that it took 3 volumes to get that far. So for episodes 1 and 3, it gives you right off the bat, you're inside Shinji's head with his narration. You actually see the angel coming in by water, and then not only that, you actually see Unit 01 show up to fight that specific angel where Shinji and Masato are. You don't get that in the show whatsoever. On top of that, you also do see where it's about to get hit with an N2 mine, so Unit 1 is dropped down into the hatch, and this is basically indicating why Rei was injured so badly in the first place, as to why Shinji needed to, take her spot. Geofront is actually explained a little more. They actually go with the size of the dome being 900 meters wide, and sunlight's pumped in from fiber optics. Masato then actually guilt trips Shinji into getting into the Eva. Not his dad, Masato, which
That's a
I thought
choice.
was a big character change right there. Also, if you remember in the anime where Unit 1 moves its hand in order to protect Shinji from falling debris, doesn't happen
Mhm.
whatsoever in the manga.
Oh.
When Shinji's in Unit 1, instead of falling over like it did in the show, it actually charges past the angel, slams into a building, then falls over. So again, minor difference, but it gives it a little bit more flavor to it. When Shinji is knocked unconscious from that angel fight, he actually sees a spectral woman come to visit him to wake him up. So it's
Okay.
almost like it's the spirit of the Evangelion. It also then immediately shows you what happens next as Masato takes Shinji in. Not because feeling bad for him. She takes him in strictly because he's acting like a brat as soon as he wakes up. So completely different on that part. Pen intro is slightly different. He comes out of a big fridge and goes straight into the bathtub. Has nothing to do with the bathtub for it's like they swap it. The classroom
Okay,
scene is
rotate it.
slightly different. Where you remember in the or anime, all the kids in the classroom, they start asking him questions via the computer. No, they just straight up walk up to him and ask him "Hey, are you the pilot?" Toji doesn't introduce himself or is introduced to the show until after everybody starts talking to him, and then he only hits him once. Doesn't go for that second time. But after he hits him once, Shinji then actually kind of grows a spine and tries to egg him on further, but nothing happens after that. Shinji is then focused on, instead of focusing on the same task to numb himself by saying, point it in the center, shoot the trigger, doing that over and over, he actually hardens himself by hiding his feelings altogether, making him a little bit more tough, or a little tougher. Um, Pen is more animated, and he actually interacts with Shinji when he comes home from buying groceries. And as soon as he comes home, he steals newly bought food from him and just fucks off. Shinji actually finds a report about the Toji altercation, so that you can tell that everybody's actually spying on him. Instead of Shinji coming home and wallowing in self-pity, he actually argues with Masato, saying that he would rather die than take orders or deal with anything and everything. Let's see.
He's a very different character.
Incredibly different. Shinji
Yeah.
and the boys interact again when Shinji is telling Toji to basically just kill himself. I mean, not kill himself, kill Shinji, or just beat the living shit out of him, break his arms, throw him off the building, do whatever, because he just can't stand being what he's doing now. Shinji rejects Masato's orders because he found resolve instead of actually just doing it because it was something that he felt like doing, in the spur of the moment. He actually decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and do this instead, and he actually charges at that angel instead, with a knife, instead of just, lying there and almost taking it. So,
Actually, real quick, because of that scene, and because what you said in the manga, this thing I've been wanting to say for a little bit, I'd
mhm,
rather say it then. While that scene is weird to a certain degree, there was one sentence during the classroom that made me think of, I think Shinji, why I've said before, like he lacks survival instincts, but he still has it, just doesn't know he doesn't know how to tap into it, right?
mhm,
Because that knife is small. He knows we probably can't chop an Ava down with that, but it does the one thing it did do, because he mentioned in the episode, it vibrates really hard,
yep,
right? So he stabbed it in there, he left it in there, which looks dumb to a certain degree until you remember the vibrations is probably what does the most damage, not cutting and stabbing.
right,
So you just have to leave it in there. So the resolve thing you just said in the manga kind of reminds you of like, oh, he, of that thought that I had where it's like he still has something there. He doesn't know how to express it to other people to let him know that he's still, maybe he does want to live a little bit, right? Maybe he actually is paying attention, but he is trying.
yeah.
So
It's, again, still seeing that, like, it's interesting to try and think that maybe that's what they were trying to, at least show a little bit in the anime, but having them actually fully, realize it in the manga, it's just, honestly, it just feels better for some reason. I can't really explain it. So, that was episodes 1 through 3. Here's 4 through 6, the stuff that we just watched tonight. So they move Masato berating Shinji to immediately after episode 3. So instead of, getting it Tarantino style where it's all out of order, we actually get it right away. When he's actually camping out with Kensuke, Nerve actually shows up that night. They don't show up the next morning. Oh, so this is something that I mentioned earlier. When he shows back up to Nerve and Masato's questioning him on whether or not, he wants to actually pilot the Ava, she's actually more receptive and caring rather than being, I don't want to say obstinate, but rather than being dismissive of him.
standoffish.
Yeah. So she's fully caring and very empathetic about it. Ritsuko actually meets Shinji outside as he's being escorted, and she says to him, "Hey, I have a message from your father. He appreciates your efforts on our behalf," and then tells him to get the fuck out. um, Kensuke and Toji meet Misato later, so like how they met her at the very beginning of the episode. Instead, they ended up
Mm-hmm.
pushing that towards the end instead, which also causes her to have that realization about Shinji's thought processes about the entire thing. At the train station, the security personnel actually try to push Shinji into the train, like physically force him, and he's resistant. Misato shows up and then stops them, says, "Hey, he's with me." They have a heart-to-heart about Misato saving Pen Pen and how she actually brought him in because she wanted to start a family, and Shinji also not wanting to go back home to family that didn't care about him. So it was like a full thing that we didn't get as a conversation piece. Toji then asks Shinji to punch him after the train leaves, but Shinji denies the request and decides to egg him on instead by saying, "Yeah, I'm just gonna leave you waiting. You'll never know when it's gonna happen." That kind of thing. Masato
Damn,
connects
he
the
actually sounds more like Amuro in this.
right. He doesn't sound like a bitch.
Yeah, it's like shit. I could see why they would be pissed with him a lot because he's a jackass.
He's kind of a
Like,
snotty little shit sometimes.
yeah.
Masato connects the angels to the Avas due to the wave pattern percentage compared to when Ritsuko actually said anything.
Mm-hmm.
So in the show, you can tell where it's like, oh, it's the angels meeting anything about humans, but then she equates that to the Avas instead. That scene at the beginning of the episode where Ray and Unit Zero berserks is actually moved to when Ritsuko's explaining everything to Shinji. So it's just a slight movement
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
Shinji at the school tries to make Ray laugh when he's caught staring at her by putting his fingers up Toji's nose. All the other girls in the area laugh and start making fun of him. Shinji says we're even, but Ray didn't laugh whatsoever. That moment where we actually see Gendo and Ray talking to each other, and it's like completely silent, and you're basically just assuming that Shinji is feeling that a moment of jealousy, like why are they talking to each other, all that. You actually see that conversation play out. Like, they actually give you the full conversation between Ray and Gendo. Masato walks around in a skimpy outfit at home that catches the eyes of Pen Pen, and you can tell that Pen Pen is officially attracted to a human.
God damn.
Okay.
Yes, I
Well,
know, weird.
well, I guess she had to attract some male in the apartment.
Yeah. There's no dinner scene with Ritsuko. Masato is the one who gives Shinji's Rei's card and says, you need to go, give this to her, blah, 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 blah. Shinji doesn't get a chance to wear Gendo's glasses. Instead, he picks it up, immediately turns around, sees Rei. He drops the glasses. That's when all the shenanigans happen where, like, he falls over. Like,
Mm,
it's a little bit more... I think I like the version in the anime more because it's where she's like, "Give me that; those aren't yours," compared to him just dropping
mhm,
it and him just being careless. But in this version, Rei is actually irritated with him, so she actually displays a little bit of personality, showing, "I don't want you here. Get the fuck out." He starts telling him about the card. Or no, he starts telling her about the card, and she basically says, "Just leave the card here and leave me alone." He leaves. She doesn't like. She's still in her home, and that moment where we actually get Rei to slap him doesn't happen in the manga. She just instead turns
Oh.
around and tells Shinji that she has the utmost faith in Gendo, and then walks away. And you can tell that she's still very irritated with him. The last thing that was different,
Mm,
because everything else ends up being the same, is when Shinji gets knocked out from the blast from Ramiel, where it goes almost all the way through the armor. You actually see what's
mhm,
going on in his head. He's having a dream, and it's a full flashback shown where he's a little kid, and his aunt and uncle that he was living with, they ended up making him a study room at their home because they wanted him to, somehow get smarter and make sure that he was, gonna grow into a nice adult. And then he's then seen going under a bridge and finding a trashed bike, like an actual just like regular bicycle. He starts taking it home,
mm.
but then he's apprehended by the cops who don't believe that he actually didn't steal the
Found
bike,
the
that he
bike.
just found it. And so he ends up being taken to the police station, and his aunt is there freaking out like, "If you wanted a new bike, we could have gotten it for you. Your father paid us so much money to take care of you. We could have done that for you." And then it's just him with thoughts thinking of like, "Well, my dad's not here. What does it matter? My mom's not here. What does it matter? Would she treat me this way too?" And then he wakes up, and then everything else happens the same. So yeah, lots of differences.
There are a lot of things I like about what you just told me. There's a lot that they don't like. I don't like the idea that we would see any other family members that Shinji's related to. I kind of like this idea that like Shinji going home doesn't really exist. So him leaving is like
Mhm,
'cause they said in the show they live by themselves, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like the thought of him having an aunt and uncle actively taking part is like that's kind of weird because they kind of like hammer in how alone he is in the anime. And I get obviously anime manga different things, but like yeah, no, I think I prefer not knowing he has something. I like to think that like Shinji's probably the only one in the family that was like because now it's like there's more people being shitty to him, right? Now it's two other assholes that are being assholey to him because it's like,
So
yeah, why wouldn't you just defend him better or whatever,
you
you
know
know?
what's funny about that? You remember how at the end of episode 3 where she said, "Oh, no one's called him, his dad hasn't called him, his friends haven't called him," shit like that.
Yeah.
So in the manga, I forgot to put this in there. In the manga, they actually talk about how he's going to be sent back to a home where his aunt and uncle, who apparently cared for him for over 10 years, have not called, have not written, or anything. It's almost like they dropped off the face of the earth.
Oh,
Oh shit.
that's actually kind of better now.
Yeah.
You should have said that one first.
Yeah, I completely forgot to put that in there. But yeah, it's wild.
It might have just been nerve agents the whole time.
You never know. I
Yeah.
don't know if it actually explains it. I honestly don't remember, but it's very interesting to see these different points that like it could have fleshed things out a little bit more, but it's still cool that we got what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ratings and rankings. All I've got is episode rankings. I haven't come up with any other bits yet because, this show's already a lot to begin
Okay.
with.
Yeah.
So I am looking at what we've got. So we got episode 4, which is the not filler episode, but it's the Cicada Boy one. Then we got episode 5 and 6, which they run together, but they are technically different, but they're still within that same short amount of
Mhm.
time. Do you want to do like what we did with 1 and 2, where whatever we rank 1, the other one's going to be with it for 5 and 6? I
Yeah.
mean.
I feel like that's fair
Sure, that's
for
fine.
5 and 6. Yeah.
Okay, so episode 4, since that one's going to be the standout, where would you guys put 4 in our letter rankings? And just for everyone who's tuning in, we have different letter rankings of S, A, B, C, D, and F. Pretty sure you can understand what those mean, but if you really need to know, S is top tier, F is low tier. Everything in between you can kind of guess.
No, I'll go second. No,
Well,
I'll go
listen,
last. I'll go
you
last.
go
Eat
I'll
last.
go
shit.
last. Yeah.
All right, I'll go first then.
I'll go last.
And the context for this ranking for 4 for me is only in the context of this is the highest this type of episode is going to get with me, and the type of episode for me matters how long the runtime of this type of episode, which is Shinji is alone and he doesn't want to be here category, right? So the
Mhm.
more an episode has of that vibe of Shinji doesn't want to be here plays, and it ends up being more of the episode, even though you can have an 8, let's say this is a 22-minute show, it could be 11 minutes even between Shinji doesn't want to be here and fighting. I'm still going to say that it's a Shinji doesn't want to be here episode.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Mhm.
hang on. Let me ask you this then. In those types of, episodes, would you consider that C or lower?
Yes, from because this one is currently a B only because for me that annoyance hasn't rubbed me the wrong way yet because there hasn't really been done a whole bunch.
Hmm.
I did like the framing and certain things. They did have enough dead time to kind of make certain scenes hang in a cartoonish way or an appropriate way. There was the stuff with the kids I liked and didn't like, and all that other stuff. It was enough balance there. But for me, this is the highest this kind of episode's ever gonna get. Even episodes where there's a fight scene at the end, because I'm tired of hearing about Shinji is sad and alone and doesn't want to be here. The more they keep doing it and the longer it is, the more, even if I like the end of it, it's going to be lower than this. So this is the highest this tier of episodes going to get for me.
Okay. So before we solidify your answer on that one, just to give you a recollection as to what our current rankings are, in B we have episode 1 and 2, and C we have episode 3.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay. So you think this is above or below episode 1 or 2?
Below.
Below, but you
It's
want.
like the lowest version of B for me. It's like
Okay.
it's like no matter what comes next, this is the lowest version of B for me, most likely.
Okay.
Just
So.
because I already am sick of this type of episodes.
And
And
the
I
more that we
would
do,
be
the
see
lower it'll get.
otherwise. Exactly. And honestly, I could be easily convinced that this could be a C because I'm not attached to it. Because I think this is the best version of this archetype of episode.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take my answer then, and then Paul, you can figure out where you want to go from there.
Okay.
David, I agree with you. However, I think we do get some interesting moments that kind of lower it. For instance, the very end of it, where we get
Yeah.
those budget shots, which I know
Yeah.
we are going to get more of.
We make
but
fun
at
of it every
least-
time.
But at least it's not as egregious right now. It's not smack dab in the middle of the episode. It was at the end. I do like the fact that we get explanation and more insight into Shinji's psychological state, and it does get progressively more fucked up as the show goes on. So yeah, we're probably going to get more of those types of episodes. But considering that this is like the first one where it's just basically a Shinji's gone episode and everyone else is trying to make up for it, I was going to go C, but I think talking it out actually made me raise it to a B.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. I like how I said I can get talked into this being lower, but you got to talk into it being higher, because like my memory is so scant I can barely remember them. But like I do know the episodes later on they will do a Shinji doesn't want to be here moment in a situation where you really shouldn't be doing this right now. This is the worst time for you to be doing this shit, right? And so like. And so I remember those little moments as well, where it's like, no, this is the best version. This is going to be. It's right after a situation where he had a proper crash out, where he was overwhelmed with information. He was actually in this situation put in a weird isolated situation thanks to no one checking in him for fucking 5 days, because everyone in this world has a skull with thinking thoughts apparently. Setting the 14-year-old by themselves after a traumatic event for 5 days. So like, this is like the best it's gonna get. This is where it makes the most sense. There's enough breathing room to allow him to like talk to the Ken and Koji to like really get a vibe of how it's gonna be with them going forward. Him and I keep saying her name. I keep saying her captain, but Masato. They have you get to hear, see her point of view on things with a little bit more, her realizing that she fucked up, right? Or she didn't understand him, right? There's enough breathing room here to let these points kind of exist. But later on, nah.
We'll see how hard those hit. Paul, you are last.
Okay, so originally, before you guys talked this episode up, I was gonna say this was an F episode for me.
Wow!
The hatred is real. You really hate those cicadas. You really hate cicadas, huh?
He really
It
does.
wasn't even that. It wasn't even that. It's
Mhm.
I've seen other episodes that have put characters in this position while actually making it feel like it's more impactful. This literally felt like it just felt like it was all of his emo moments in one episode, and they didn't care what anyone else felt. So originally watching this, I'm like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm done with this. And I think it's the fact that I didn't watch the episodes until literally like maybe 2-3 hours ago.
Yeah,
I did it
same.
this morning.
And yeah, and I didn't care to, and I was like I knew I wasn't gonna like this episode, but I'm like I'll watch it, and I'm like it's okay, but
I
knowing that, like, thinking about how everyone else was impacted, or let me correct that, was shown in this episode, it did raise it up to a C for me.
Okay.
So
So
here's what I'll
it's not
say.
enough.
I think, and I guess this helps that, like, and we're not trying to be them. Maybe we are. I don't know. It depends on how the viewer perceives us. But I know Sean and I watch this YouTube channel a lot on and off. I try to, and it's where I really started to think about media as a whole afterwards, which is Red Letter Media, where
I knew
when
you
you
were gonna
want
bring them
something,
up.
when you want something old, you kind of have to like take into account what the landscape of the media was at that time, and then where the current media in that genre is now, right? I do think if Ava, with no fanfare, no IP, no nothing, in its current age of anime, was re-released now, no one knew shit about it, I don't think this would be a very successful, because current anime now is like they don't have these crazy long standing shots where it's like it's like a minute of dead time where they try to run out the clock anymore. They try to have tighter episodes because they have tighter windows, and they have new shows to bring in, new shows to bring out, things to, and the deadline. I'm sure the deadlines have always been kind of tight the entire time, but like there's always someone else trying to outdo somebody else in such a weird way. There's money coming in and money coming out that's differently than it was back then to how it is now. That like these kind of episodes existing in anime would really won't exist in like a sci-fi shonen adjacent one, like how Ava, because Ava I would even call shonen. But like it's still close enough, right? And I don't think this would do super well. This kind of like these kind of long shots would still work in like a slice of life series or something along those lines. But like with how Ava is, and when the action gets going and how disturbing it is, I don't. Yeah. So I try to think about it from that point of view of like what people in the 90s was, where anime was in the 90s. And so like that's the reason why I give it a little bit of slack on these annoying parts that like we make fun of. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I make fun of it because I acknowledge it's like because I can't ignore it, but like, I definitely would hold it against it if this came out like this year. I'd be like, what the fuck are you wasting my time with this bullshit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do see your point there, and you're absolutely right. But yeah, I got nothing to follow up on that. Yeah, that was just really good points.
Yeah.
So
Because like think of it
currently,
like this. All right, go. You. Yeah. I won't say. I won't harp the point. Go ahead.
so I was gonna say currently we have 2 votes for B, 1 for C. If it goes for B, it's gonna go underneath episodes 1 and 2. That's where it is right now. I'm gonna schedule it tentatively for that particular ranking for the next episode, because obviously we're going to have more people come back on the next one, and they'll be able to go ahead and give their opinions as to where it should be, and then we'll be able to put in our final ranking for that.
Yeah, sounds good.
So next is episode 5 and 6, tethered together. Personally, for me, I'm going to start this one off. I think this goes into A for both. I really, really like this episode. It's close to being really, really good. It already is really good, but I mean, like, it's close to being a perfect episode, or a perfect set of episodes, where we get everything regarding, the idea as to what happened with Ray, why she was, supposedly injured before, because apparently it only happened like a week or two before the first angel showing up. we get that. We get the idea that Rei doesn't really have a personality. We get Shinji, staring at her, realizing that he's jealous of this, of the connection that she shares with his father. We get a whole lot of different things with that, and then tying that into the next episode, we end up getting that giant angel fight, which again, it plays out much cooler in the movie, but it's still pretty damn cool in this one, even if we get a lot of technical jargon that they basically say don't worry about it. um
Hmm.
I really, really like these episodes. I think they both deserve to be an A. Let's go with
I
Paul first
agree.
and then David.
I agree. It should be an A episode. Everything I shat on in the last episode, this was great. Like, yes, there's little things that will make you feel uncomfortable as a person, but it was great. It had good pacing. They both episodes told a cohesive story. Yes, there was like sharp judders, but that's to be expected in how they were trying to tell the story
I mean, especially
at
with the way that they
that
do
time.
episode 1 and 2, how
Mm,
they try to
Yeah,
Tarantino it up a little bit.
yeah. So I like it. It was These two were really good, and I'll keep it as an A. I will say they don't make animation like this anymore, to the point where you see how much detail and time goes into each cell.
I
Like
mean, technically you
the
do.
amount.
They took 15 years to make the rebuild piece.
Yes, but I mean in normal anime that is on that's streaming now, there are
Yeah.
very few that care to do what we see in these older shows. So, and this is just like an art perspective. Yes, you can tell when they're trying to save on the budget because they reuse certain backdrops multiple times to save on it, but each one is beautifully done. So,
All
in
right, so
my opinion,
we got two
it's
for
really
A.
good.
What about you, David?
So we're all really close. I guess the thing I'll say differently is if this was done separately, this would episode 5 would be low B, mid B, and 6 would be low A convinced to high B. Them together is mid A for me. I think they're the some of their parts that are the weakest are carried up well when you think of them as a paired unit. So the parts that are like, for instance, like her in the Gendo scenes, if you are uncomfortable by that or those upset you that you see in 5, you get a little bit of resolution and like a little bit of like a weird little hint of why does she see Gendo and Shinji when these two are so fucking different,
Mm-hmm.
right? That so you get a different kind of resolution in that as you think of these two things as a paired viewing episode, essentially, right?
Right.
So the weak part in 5 has a stronger payoff at the end of 6. So, like I said, the weaknesses between the two episodes help each other out through the strength of the others. So that's why it gets like a mid A for me.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So I could technically say, depending on how many people show up for the next one, that A is going to be our ranking, but we'll see. So honestly, that's all that I've got for this evening. Guys, you have anything else you want to close out on before we finish for the night?
No, not really.
No, I'm good here.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, everyone, this is Sean with Big Mecha. I was hoping
But
one of you guys
but
would.
not
Oh.
huge.
I was hoping one of you guys would say your fucking names.
Okay. Yeah. This is Paul.
Nah, no names.
Big
Fuck you,
Becca.
Sean. Fuck you, Sean. No names.
Whatever. Get in the fucking robot. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.